Hi everyone. Due to the visa issue, it is extremely a pity that I could not arrive at the beautiful city San Diego. For alternative, I make this video recording is rather prepared nice in advance. At the very beginning, let me make an introduction of myself. My name is Xiang Chen. I'm currently a fifth year PhD student in Central South University, Changsha, China from 2014, under the supervisor Professor Min Ni. My research interests include machine intelligence bioinformatics. In recent 2 years, I'm paying my attention mostly to single-cell techniques and its related computing issues, such as clustering, pseudo-time analysis, and I'm very honored to have this opportunity to report our recent work with single-cell RNA-seq data mining. This work is contributing as a new method for real cells discovery from ultra-large scRNA-seq data, named DoRC. Okay, let's begin. I will give the talk from these four sections. In the first section, I will introduce the single-cell RNA-seq technology briefly and the real cells discovery. And the second section, I will talk about materials and the DoRC method. And in the third section, I will show you the results, which include three subsections: overview of the DoRC resolves heterogeneity among dendritic cells, and DoRC recovers artificially planted real cells. And in the last section, and is the discussion and the conclusion. Let's talk about the first section, introduction. The single-cell RNA-seq technology provides transcriptomic measurements at the single-cell resolution, making possible the identification and characterization of cell types in different tissues. In contrast, traditional bulk RNA sequence, where expression levels are averaged over thousands or millions of cells, have an intrinsic limitation in this aspect. The early event of scRNA-seq technology is providing an unprecedented perspective to study the biological mechanism from the cellular level, promoting researchers to more rigorously address questions such as the cellular composition of tissues, the transcriptomic heterogeneity, and how cells change during development or in disease and cancer. Real cells represent mineral cell types in an organism. When the number of profiling cells is in the scale of hundreds, even a single ordinary cell deserves attention. However, with the increase in throughput capabilities, the focus switches to the discovery of mineral cell types rather than mere signatures. As a matter of fact, real cell detection has become a mainstream component in the downstream analysis pipelines nowadays. Up to now, algorithms focusing on detecting real cell transcriptomics are scarce. Prominent methods among these are real cell type identification, RACE-ID, GD-class, and FIRE. RACE-ID involves computationally expensive panoramic modeling for the detection of ordinary expression profiles. It uses a k-means clustering, which is the typical distance, which in turn are used to determine ordinary events. Algorithm. It first selects informative genes using the gene index, then it applies a density-based cluster method called DeepScan to discover ordinary cells. Notably, both RACE-ID and GD-class use clustering to distinguish between major and minor cell types, which are very slow and memory inefficient for oversized scRNA-seq data. In contrast, FIRE assigns a various score to every individual expression profile under study. It estimates the density of each cell using the sketching technique, which is powerful for the no-dimensional encoding of a large volume of data points. FIRE is extremely time efficient for voluminous scRNA-seq data. Okay, let's go to the second part, materials and the methods. Three data sets are used in this study. Okay, let's go to the methods section. For the discovery of real cells from ultra-large scRNA-seq data, the DoRC method includes several sub-procedures. Subfigure A and subfigure B are data pre-processing with normalization and gene selection. For each data set, genes which have a read count exceeding 2 in at least 3 cells are retained for downstream analysis. And subfigure C is real cells discovery with isolation forest. Isolation forest is a model-free algorithm and that is computationally efficient and very easy to be adapted for use with parallel computing paradigm. In an isolation forest, data is subsampled and processed in a tree structure based on random costs and the values of randomly selected features in the dataset. Those samples that travel deeper into the tree branches are less indicative of anomaly, while shorter branches are more likely to be anomalous. As a result, the aggregated length of the tree branches can be used as a measure of anomaly or an anomaly score for every given point. While our continuous anomaly score is helpful, sometimes binary notation with respect to the cell variety simplifies tremendously the analysis pipeline. As a result, DoRC marks the cell as real if its DoRC score, that is the example anomaly score, is greater than Q3 plus 1.5 minus IQR, and where Q3 and IQR denote the third quartile and the interquartile range, and the subfigure D illustrates. Subfigure E is to refine real cell types with rough class. Subfigure F is real cells with real cell types visualization, and the subfigure G is the real cells and different expressed genes analysis. Okay, let's go to the detail of subfigure E. In order to distinguish different cell types from the real cells, and we propose an unsupervised wide forest similarity based cluster method, named rough class. Analogous to many other methods, rough class is also a two-step procedure method, where in the first step we perform random forest-based similarity learning, and as the second step we apply hierarchical clustering. A very critical pre-process procedure in the similarity learning step is the feature matrix construction. Okay, let's go to the third section, results. Overview of the DoRC method. The design of DoRC is inspired by the observation that real cells tend to be few and different, which are susceptible to a mechanism called isolation. An isolation forest fully captures the characterization of real cells, in which the variety of each cell is characterized by the aggregated length of the tree branches. The longer the length of the cell is, the more criterion is required for the cell to be distinguished from other cells, and the more likely it is a real cell. Quantificationally, the example anomaly score in an isolation forest features the variety of characteristics by nature, which offers us the freedom to investigate and further decide the degree of rareness of the cell. To illustrate this, mononuclear cells, PBMCs, are rotated based on similarity with purified, well-known immune cell subtypes. The first took unsupervised clustering of the cells and then rotated the clusters on account of the previously known markers. We overlaid DoRC scores on the two-dimensional map reported by part of the study. Although a continuous score is meaningful, sometimes the binary rotation of cell variety simplifies the analysis. To address that, we introduce a thresholding scheme using the properties of the score distribution. The figure C analyzes cells in the 68,000 PBMC data, which are detected as real entities by the threshold-based dechromatomatization. And in this figure, DoRC discovers cells with varying degrees of variety. In the 68,000 PBMC data, many cell populations with different grades of variety show up with an increase in the number of selected real cells. From subfigure A to subfigure C, the top 0.1, 1, and 3% percentage cells respectively selected on the basis of DoRC scores are highlighted in the red color. We also show you the results that DoRC resolves heterogeneity among dendritic cells. Dendritic cells disease play a crucial role in sensing phagocytosis and antigen surveillance. DECs are among the various immune cell types, consisting about 0.5% of the PBMCs. The study by Villani delineates 6 different subtypes of dendritic cells by analyzing the expression profiles of fluorescently activated cell sorted population of disease and monocytes. These subtypes are reported there in detail. We are curious about if the dendritic cell subtypes could be identified in the PBMC data. First, we apply DoRC on the PBMC dataset. DoRC, we post a total of 3,844 real cells with the binary annotation by using the IQR-based dichotomization. Then the real cells are clustered by rough class method, and we obtain 12 subtypes. Out of the 12 distinguishable clusters, Cluster 4, Cluster 5, Cluster 9, and Cluster 11 exclusively consist of dendritic cells, and per the annotations provided by Jen. For these 4 DC clusters, we conduct differential expression analysis to find the cell type-specific genes. A total of type-specific genes with a fold change of cutoff log to 1.5. By overlaying our different genes with the ones reported by Villani, we could confidently resolve 5 out of the 6 subtypes. And we also show that DoRC recovers artificially planted real cells pertaining to the cell type identity. We use our scRNA-seq dataset JUCAT 200 and 293T and JUCAT cells mixed in vitro in different proportions. The authors have exploited the single nuclear variant profile of each cell to determine its lineage. We consider this genotype-based annotation scheme to be nearly confirmatory, with a different proportion of JUCAT cells varying from 1% to 15% of all the cells. 8 datasets are obtained with each dataset. F1 score is calculated with the variety annotation produced by DoRC scores. Repeating this procedure 100 times, the standard deviation of the F1 scores for the datasets can be obtained, which reflects the stability of the method to recover artificially planted real cells, as illustrated in this figure. F1 score reflects the balance between precision and sensitivity. DoRC can match fire when the real radius are the low level, that is 1%. However, when the real radius increases from 1.5% to 15%, DoRC outperforms fire. Furthermore, the performance of fire decreases sharply at the real radius of 15, but DoRC is more conservative with the minor performance loss. DoRC is also sensitive to cell type identity. A simulation study is also designed to analyze the robustness and the sensitivity of a DoRC score with respect to the number of differently expressed genes. We first generate an artificial scRNA-seq data consisting of 500 cells with 2 cell types. The minimum cell type represented about 5% of the total population. We keep aside the differently expressed genes selected through a stringent criterion. For each integration of the experiments, we append the pre-identified DE genes to the fixed number of no-DE genes. We change the count of differently expressed genes between 1 and 150 to track the sensitivity of DoRC in detecting the minor population. With the given set of DE genes, DoRC scores are obtained and used for computing the area under the curve of receiver operating characteristics with respect to the mineral population. For each count of DE genes, the aforementioned process is repeated 1,000 times. The average AUC and also the standard deviation of AUCs among all variants are reported in this figure. A. With a small number of DE genes, DoRC struggles to detect the mineral cell population. However, DoRC predictions improve sharply when 20 or more DE genes are introduced. Meanwhile, the prediction becomes more stable as the deviation became smaller. In addition, as both DoRC and FAIR could give a binary allocation to a cell, we are curious about performance difference. In this dataset, the AUC, recall, precision, and F1 score between DoRC and FAIR are considered. As F1 score depends on recall and precision, we also include these two metrics for a reference. Regarding the cell type allocation at true levels, AUC is calculated with the DoRC scores, while F1 score is obtained with the variety allocation produced by DoRC scores with IQRs resulting criterion. Among the total 25 real cells, both DoRC and FAIR could correctly detect 23 identical real cells. DoRC could detect other 2 real cells and 1 false positive real cells, while FAIR fails to identify the left 2 real cells. In this dataset, the number of positive samples and the number of negative samples are in balance. The AUC and the precision of these two measures are with a negligible difference, while recall and the F1 score of DoRC are higher than those of FAIR, which is illustrated in the subfigure B. Okay, let's go to the last section. Discussion and conclusion. Lately, single-cell transcriptomics have greatly improved our understanding about the nature of cell phenotypes. It has also accelerated the discovery of new cell types. Most of these new cells are real because it is quite unlikely that an abundant cell type remains unobserved for us for a very long time. A truly real cell type can only be discovered by analyzing thousands of cells. Although technological advances over the past few years have enabled us to perform ultra-high throughput single-cell sequence, scalable methods for real cell detection are almost non-existent. Analogous to the FAIR approach, DoRC attempts to fill this gap with a pragmatic and applicable design. The most notably, DoRC avoids the use of clustering as an intermediate step. Typical clustering techniques are not only time-consuming, but it is also impossible to fully map cell types in complex tissues on a single go. DoRC gives a realness score to every individual expression profile. With the IQRs resulting, DoRC can also suffer a binary prediction as race ID and gene class do. This is achieved by using isolation forest as the workhorse algorithm, which is well studied and widely applied unsupervised anomaly detection method in machine learning. The variety of each cell is denoted with an anomaly score for each given point in the corresponding high-dimensional space. We demonstrate the efficiency of DoRC in delineating human blood dendritic cell subtypes using 68 single-cell expression profiles of human blood cells. This is achieved by our proposed novel and effective cell clustering approach, ROV-Clust, which can resolve real cells heterogeneity. The ROV-Clust method can be applied for general single-cell transcriptomics clustering. Furthermore, the experiment on the other two simulated datasets show that DoRC can recover artificially planted real cells and is sensitive to cell type identities as well. We believe that DoRC is a promising and potential tool for the biologists to detect real cells in the future. Thanks for listening. If you have any question, please mail to Professor Mini, who is the correspondence author of the paper, with the email address here. Or you can find me with the below QR code to go to my homepage there. Thank all of you very much. Wish you good times in San Diego.